What is up, everybody? Your boy E-Man from the Average Joe Sports Talk Podcast with the weekly live stream. And as always, my staple mate, my man, my G, Cricket. What's up, my brother?
What's up, man? How you doing this week, man? I had a rough weekend on the gridiron, but we'll survive. How you doing, my brother?
Good, man. Good, man. We were talking off camera. I said, I stayed off college football this week because I'm not a pro like you. And this is my first year when I really started betting consistent college football, but I know when to like fade myself and stop doing it. And I just go back to my bread and butter in the NFL. So I did that. And I had 2 rough weeks in the NFL. Like I told you, I'm a big parlay guy, man. I'll play 4 or 5 parlays. You know what I'm saying, dude?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this week I decided to do like three, but I hit a nice one. They were all pretty nice returns and doable, and I hit
Okay.
one out of three, which hey, not only like tripled my money, but at the same time chipped a little bit into those losses for the last couple of weeks. So I'm trying to like finish the
Hey,
season on a high.
that's right, man. I like that. Yeah, I was telling you before we came on, man. I've got my head kicked in the last couple of weeks in college football. That's where I like to consider my expertise. Man. I think I know too much about these teams sometimes, man. But yeah, I've struggled the last couple of weeks. I think I'm going to tell people maybe to start fading me, man. But you got to be careful because then I'll go like 13-3 one weekend or something like that. But it's been a tough couple of weeks for sure. NFL not too bad, but we'll come back, man.
That's what happens. You can't. Listen, man. All the goats go on cold streaks, brother, and then
It,
after that, you
bro.
redeem yourself because you were on a heater like out of nowhere the last 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
So hey, it's a thing. It's gonna come back.
man, I must be like a masochist or something to do. So I played poker for years and stuff, and now I do this. It's the peaks and valleys, man. The peaks and
Mhm.
valleys. So some days just better than others. That's all. You got to be able to dust yourself off and get back at it.
Hey man, we'll have another show about poker because I was myself a poker degenerate before I got married and had kids. Man, it
Okay,
was
man.
like,
Yeah, I
oh,
love
dude,
that, man.
that was my thing, baby. Your boy, it was bad. Let's not digress. Let's stick to football, man,
Yeah.
because
Let's
if
stick to
not,
football right now,
we'll
man.
have probably another show just about poker and degeneracy and drunkenness and hitting, and blind racing. But
Man,
tight
that'd
end week
probably
was
be a great
wild,
show,
bro.
man. That'd probably be a
Huh?
great show,
Yeah.
man.
I think so too. I think we've got some good stories, man. I mean, hey, I could share some stuff, man. All the way from Atlantic City to Florida, baby, and Vegas. I'm
That's what I'm saying, man. That might be our claim to fame right there, man.
That's true. What do you think of tight end week, brother? All the goats, man. All the tight ends. It isn't me. What happens every tight end, every tight end week, and every tight end day. Like tight ends go off. I don't know if it's just something that just is planned or just coincidentally. I mean, dude,
I
everybody, all the big dogs went off, including my boy Darren Waller.
I think yeah, including him, man. I think it's in the stars or something. I gotta know. I need somebody to release these lists to me when it's tight end day and all these things, so I know before it's like actually the game's on. And now they're telling me it's tight end day, and this guy's
Yeah.
going off for 150 and 3 touchdowns and stuff. Because you could have cashed some money.
My
But
gosh.
even Hawkinson last night had a big night. Kittle wound up having a pretty good night. I mean, it was a tight end show this weekend, man. But yeah, it was crazy. It was a lot of fun to watch some of these guys. These are big dudes, man. Big
I mean,
dudes.
I would have put my money on an anytime touchdown in Andrews, Kelsey, of course. I would have done Waller in there too, just based on the matchup as well. I mean, Gasecki got into the end zone as well. You know what I'm saying, dude?
Yeah,
So there was some
yeah.
tight.
I didn't think
I
I
would have
forgot
done some
about that.
crazy ass anytime touchdowns, just only tight ends.
Yeah, that's nuts, man. I didn't even think about Gasecki. Yeah, it was a big weekend for the tight ends, man. It was a lot of fun to watch. But like I said, I need these lists released to me a couple days before, man, so I know to pile on them.
No, absolutely, my man. Here, hold on a second. My boy Jim from Fan in the Van, of course, he has to take a shot at Kelsey. Kelsey went off, and Taylor went off during the game in the suite, double clicking her mouse. I absolutely agree with my guy. I cannot watch another handshake with her,
Oh,
Brittany Mahomes, and now that other dude, his brother. I forget his name, the Mahomes guy. I just his brother. I don't even know his name anymore.
yeah, I don't
Patrick
know his
Mahomes'
name
brother.
either, man. Like I said, I'm so tired of this shit, man. It's been driving me nuts. They showed
Yeah,
that handshake on every NFL show the other day, and it was a bad handshake. It was garbage.
yeah,
I don't know why everybody's like, we need to learn this. If you need to learn it, you're stupid if you don't learn it. That shit was terrible, and I'm tired of them showing her on football
hell
every
yeah, man.
single week.
If that shit was rehearsed, it looked like
Yeah,
shit, and they should be ashamed of
yeah.
themselves.
If me and you are doing that in the skybox, they're making fun of us. We're on memes and every gifs and all kind of stuff, man. Get out of here with that shit. The Swifties. Ugh.
Thank you, Jim. Jackson Mahomes. Well, Jackson Jack off Mahomes. You're right. I think he's going through a case as well. So, oh man. But listen, somebody that did not rehearse, that rehearsed a handshake and did a little bit better than you thought was what do you think of this kid, bro? This Badgin guy? I mean, the
Imagine
backup,
or
Mr.
Bajan?
Mr. Division Two in the house. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
man.
Leading their
Hey,
team, the Bears, to a win against the Raiders. Not just a win; it was a shellacking.
Yeah,
Man,
man.
talk about storybook here, huh?
Here's a good trivia question for you, man. You know where Tyson Bagent went to college?
I saw it the other day because I tweeted it, but I don't remember now.
That's
Somewhere
what
in
I'm saying,
Division
man.
Two.
I just the whole reason I saw it the other day. Nobody knew before this, like Shepherd College, man. I think I don't
Yeah,
know if
Shepherd
Shepherd
College. I mean,
University
wow.
or Shepherd. Yeah, I bet you don't know where that is. I don't either.
Hell no, man.
But back to the game, man. This guy did what he had to do. Went in there, got the game ball from his coach afterwards. The
Yep.
Raiders got to feel bad about this one, man. Because if you can
Hmm.
do it, I don't know. He could be a diamond in the rough. Maybe he's the next Brock Purdy or something. I don't think so. But he
I don't
rose
think
to
so
the
either.
occasion.
But it's
He
good to
rose
know.
to the occasion. Got the job done. He ain't going to get much time. Justin Fields going to be back, mid November, something like that. But hey, kudos to this kid, man. He deserves credit where credit is due. Pat him on the back. He won an NFL football game. That's hard to do, man.
Yeah, he went in there, did not make any mistakes, right? 21 for 29. Pick his spots. Deontay Foreman, we were seeing him do this before last year with the Panthers. We know what he could do. Had a monster game on the ground. How all 3 touchdowns, one receiving and 2 on the ground. That was the big story of the game, and you knew this was going to happen. And he actually won me a fantasy matchup because I picked him up this week with all the bye weeks. I on one of
Likewise,
my
bro. Yeah.
he got
We
me
got
30 something points, man. I paid, and I didn't overpay for him either, man. I guess everybody was full of running backs in one of my leagues, the one of my fab leagues. And yeah, man, he actually got me over the hump in one of my struggling leagues. But yeah,
y
that's pretty much
yeah,
the story of the line there.
yeah,
Brian
this
Hoyer, I mean, I
Brian
don't know
Hoyer.
why they didn't start Aiden O'Connell, but
Why is Brian Hoyer still in the league, man?
I don't know, man.
Well, I thought this guy was gone 3 years ago, and then Jimmy Garoppolo's just not a very tough guy, I don't think. And Brian Hoyer's come back, and he's give him credit, man. He's an older guy trying to do it. He ain't got it no more, man. He got to get out of there.
No.
They need to be. If I'm going to lose like this, I'm going to at least lose like this with my rookie, man, and let him get
Yeah.
some earn some stripes. Take some losses the hard way. You get hit in the mouth, you learn some things. I'm gonna put him out there and take it before I'm gonna put Brian Hoyer back out there. That was garbage.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if and Jimmy's coming back, but the fact that I think they would have done a better job in getting a backup quarterback. I mean, why didn't they go after Gardner Minshew, right? And during the offseason if you knew you signed Jimmy?
I think you draft Aiden O'Connell. The kid can throw the pill,
Yeah,
man. Let him go out there and find out. He might
yeah.
be your Brock Purdy. Go out, but you don't know if you're going to play Brian Hoyer over him and get 129 yards and 2 picks out of him. What's it
Yeah.
going to hurt you? Get out there and try to find out. That's what San Francisco had to do. They said we ain't got no choice. We got to play him, and they
Yeah.
found lightning in a bottle, man.
I mean, look, it was he threw a pick or whatever the case may be, but at the end of the day, hey, it is what it is, bro. One more thing with
Yeah.
Foreman, right? He was the first player in Bears history, franchise history, to have 350. Hold on a second, I'm in the wrong spot. He's the first Chicago running back with 2 rushing touchdowns and 1 receiving touchdowns. Is Matt Forte. All right, the man had a total 120 yards.
Wow,
Beast.
that's
I
a
don't even know what kind of
good
what running
good
back
name
was he, but he
drop.
had to be top 5, right?
Oh, I'm sure, man. I'm
Yeah,
sure 30 points. Yeah, absolutely was top 5. Might have been. I mean, he could have been number 1 this week. I don't know that anybody
I,
had a better game than that.
you're right. He might have been number 1 this week.
Jahmyr
Aaron
Gibbs had
O'Connell
like
looks like
26
what happened?
far. I said, Jahmyr Gibbs had like 26, 27 points. My bad.
That's true. That's true. Jameer had a good game. Look, remember what we said about catching the football, right? That's what he did pretty much.
Yeah,
He
do
had a
that
good game.
every
And
week.
yeah, I mean, and that game is gonna be rough when we get to it, but we've got to get to it. Aiden O'Connell looks like Farba from Super Troopers drinking liters of cola. That's true. That is
That's
true.
that's a good analogy, man.
That is a great
Farva.
analogy, Jim. I mean, my man is always he has a notebook full of them, bro. You got to watch Cigars and Sports if you really want to
I
really
do
get your
gotta check
fix.
y'all out, man. I do gotta do that for sure.
The guy, he's a gem, bro. I'm telling you.
I
All
believe it,
right,
man. I believe it.
yo, listen, talking about a gem though, and you mentioned the Lions and Jameer Gibbs, the freaking Ravens, annihilated, fucking, it was annihilation of the Lions. Wow. I mean, dude, Lamar Jackson was playing like, I mean, it was a beautiful thing to watch Lamar Jackson pick apart. That is a decent defense, right? It was
Absolutely.
insane.
I tell you what, man, I got a new thing. Every week, the team, and this week it is the Ravens.
Hmm.
I'm going to fade them going to Arizona because every week this year in the NFL, we've had a team that comes out and we're ready to crown
Yep.
them Super Bowl champions, and
Hmm.
they're America's team. And it's happened with the Dolphins, it's happened with the 49ers, it's happened with the Cowboys, and it's happened with the Lions now, man. And every week we're ready to crown these teams, and they get waxed, especially if they're on the road next week. But usually by now, this game, the Ravens are a good football team, so I can
Yeah.
totally see why this happened. But when the Cowboys went to the Cardinals and all that stuff, I'm telling you, the Ravens going to the Cardinals this week, they're only giving Arizona 6.5. That's a weird, funny line, and I
Yep.
could totally see sprinkling a little bit on the Cardinals money line. but I'm at least taking that 6 points. I'm on the Cardinals this week in that thing because I think this is a big letdown spot for the Ravens.
And it's funny. The Lions went in there not getting enough respect, and now we see why. Right?
Well,
Why the Ravens were the favorite.
I think this is just the NFL, man. This is why it's
Mhm.
so crazy. All these guys are so good, and when you got Ross, especially the Baltimore Ravens, they could do this to anybody on any given
Yep.
week, man. They are that good. That's why they're frustrating when you watch them do shit like they did to
Yep.
Pittsburgh a few weeks ago when they should have won that game easily, and they wound up blowing it late just because they're just not all on the same page. But when they do this, and they can do this to anybody in the NFL.
Absolutely. I mean, and like you said, they mentioned the Colts. They did the same thing to the Colts. They played a really, really
Yeah,
bad game against the Colts and lost it. But
yeah,
with that being said, Lamar had probably one of the best games I think a quarterback can have. 21 for
yeah.
27, 357, I mean, he was just spreading the ball with 3 passing touchdowns. I know 2 of them went to, of course, his boy, man, the security blanket of Mark Andrews. But
Bro.
the way he was hitting actually Zay Flowers, Odell Beckham, Rashad Bateman even got himself a couple of targets here, even though he didn't do much of them. But it was good watching Lamar out there, only running when he need to. This is what Lamar has done throughout his career, man. Going from just a strictly running back, running back, quarterback in his first year to being a complete passer when he has the opportunity and the time.
When Lamar Jackson is throwing the football like this is a tough team to beat, man.
It is.
They got a solid defense. That's one of the best defenses in the NFL out there. And when Lamar Jackson's doing this is a tough team to beat. That's what I'm saying. I'm telling you, all Ravens fans, get ready. You're gonna be frustrated this weekend because you're gonna say, "How do we do that to the Detroit
Mhm.
Lions last week and go out here and play like this against Arizona?" I still think you're gonna win the game. You probably win it, but it's gonna be a closer game than you want to have to sweat. And you're gonna be like, "What are we doing? Why do we do that?" But this is what this team's done for years now. But when they put it all together, Lamar Jackson plays like that, they're tough to beat, man.
They are. They are. And let me tell you something. Lamar Jackson had himself a GOAT performance.
Greatest of all time. Greatest of all time. Don't cross that line. Go.
Brother, he's my GOAT of the week. I mean, he is my
I don't
GOAT of the
blame you,
week.
sir.
Dude, you know why he's my GOAT of the week? Forget about the numbers, right? 4 total touchdowns, 357 yards. First player in franchise history with 350 plus passing yards, 3 plus passing TDs, 1 rushing. That's what you do, man. When you set GOAT numbers, franchise numbers, league numbers, this guy right here gets my GOAT of the week. McCaffrey was a close second, but he did break, a record. However, he didn't have a great day, as good of a day as Lamar Jackson did in my book, man. What do you think?
And I think you are right, sir. And Lamar Jackson's team won the football game, man.
There we go.
So I'd say that stat right there, I'd say he'd probably be the first player to do that in a lot of franchises history. I
Yes.
don't know many that would have one of those guys. That's a hell of a game, man. And as he should, he is your go to the week, and I like it.
Yeah, man, Lamar, man. I love Lamar. Lamar's a hardworking dude, man, and he's a
Yeah.
really good dude that doesn't get in issues. He's a lot of people kind of are
I
down on him
love
because he didn't choose an agent or whatever. But at the end of the day, man, he's still got his money. He's a guy that does a lot. I know him, personally down here. I know him a lot. I got a lot of the guys that work for me that went to high school with him because locally
that's
down here, I
awesome.
work in the field. He's from Pompano, which is right across the street.
Okay.
Every time he comes back home, dude, he does a lot of things for the community. He invests in the community. And dude, he just comes back home all the time, and everybody knows him well. He's a guy of the he's a man of the people, bro, and he's a really good hearted kid. You never see him get in trouble.
That's
So I'm
awesome,
a
dude.
big fan.
I love him. I love his they interview him after every Ravens game too. I love his interviews after the game. He just seems like he's so chilled. And
Yep.
like if he messes some up, he's just like, "No, man. I mean, I love Lamar, dude. I do. I've always liked Lamar since his days at Louisville. He's so much fun to watch, man. This
Yes.
guy's the best athlete on any football field he steps on. Has been probably most of his. I mean, I know all of his adult life, but probably
All of
all
it.
of
Yep.
his life.
All of
And
his life.
I love watching Lamar play, man. And when he plays at that level, this is a Super Bowl contender if he plays at that level.
Yep. And I'm not gonna say much about the Detroit Lions because there's really nothing to say about the Detroit
No.
Lions in this case, man. They completely shit the bed. And again, you're right. Every time there's a hangover, there's a big performance. Miami does it. Has done it twice already this year. Like you said, the Ravens. Something happens the following week when everybody is ready to crown them
You want me
as
to
like the team to beat.
you want me to tell you what I think it is, man? I think you
What
got
do you
all
think?
these guys all in the media. You got all these teams. We're talking these teams up. We're putting them everywhere. Put them on a pedestal. Tell them how great they are.
Mhm.
And these guys they see all that stuff. They're reading all that stuff. And anybody that has good things written about it, you're gonna read more of that stuff. Well, here's the simple fact of the matter. That's taken away from your focus for your game plan. You're taking away from time that you need to be on the practice field, not on the practice field, but you know what I'm saying, in the film room, doing the different things like that. When you're missing that time in there, you don't have the focus in you need. These guys are all professionals. Doesn't matter if it's the best team in the NFL or the worst team. All these guys are freaks. And you go out there and you don't give somebody the respect that they deserve and the preparation they deserve. And I think that's what happens with a lot of these teams when they get told how great they are, man. They take a little foot off the pedal and then you get smacked in the mouth. And it's usually what they need. They usually bounce back the week after, unless you're the 49ers. But yeah, now the Detroit Lions are gonna be all right, man. They're gonna be all right. They just gotta regroup, and you got smacked in the mouth. You got beaten. Hey, this could be a Super Bowl matchup, man.
It could be. It could be. I mean, they're due for one. All right, everybody. There's been the sweethearts all year long, including beating the Chiefs in the first game of the season. So hey, look, they got, and look, no shame in losing against a team like the Ravens, right? All right, it's better than being Buffalo and losing against the damn New England Patriots who dropped 29 points on you. All right, that's bad. Now that's an upset. That is, you might want to like put your head down and honestly, dude, Buffalo cannot look this mediocre. All right, with to be one of the contenders in the AFC East. All right, this was ugly, and it's the second time of the year that Buffalo does this kind of stuff. You know what I mean, man? This is just a bad loss, just an unacceptable loss against a really bad team.
Yeah, man, I don't understand this team, man. I don't get it. The way they beat the Miami Dolphins at home, then they go to London and look really bad against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Then they come back home and they didn't look great against y'all, man. Let's say what it is. You didn't have your starting quarterback. They played you at home. They looked bad. They should have got beat in that game. Then they go down to New England and do this. And the only reason this is terrible, I had the under in this game, under 41, man. And they scored like 2 touchdowns combined the first 3 quarters. And then scored 4 touchdowns. I didn't know the Patriots were capable of scoring 2 touchdowns in the game. And they scored 4 combined touchdowns the fourth quarter and just flew over. But yeah, this is a bad loss, man. You let him come down the field. You let Mac Jones lead him down the field. Had a pretty good game. I don't know if Josh Allen's all the way healthy, man.
Listen, I didn't think the Patriots were capable of scoring 21 points in any game for the remainder of the season after having streaks of like giving up 72 points and only scoring 3, that kind of stuff. I mean, they're averaging like 12 points a game in the regular season or something like that. Before this game, that's a stunning part. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Are you kidding me? Like, how do you let that happen, man? Especially in game on the line. Like, you tell me I'm sorry, but you let Mac Jones drive down the field and beat you right there? I mean, hey, great win for the Patriots. Everybody counted. Belichick shout out to Bill Belichick, got his 300th win, man. That's a big deal. It's hard to win a single football game as an NFL head coach. That man has done it 300 times, been around forever. You can say what you want about Bill Belichick, but that deserves to be noted, man. Congratulations to him. That's all.
Yeah, no, you have to give Belichick his flowers. And I think that's the reason why they're gonna let him play out the rest of the season. And I think he's been ramming this in these guys' head. Guys, give me my fucking 300 win, all right, before midseason, okay? Because I need, this is gonna be embarrassing if I'm like 1 and freaking 10, by the time I get my 300 win. So
it's not even gonna matter.
It was definitely a more like you better win soon, guys, because I'm gonna go postal with somebody. I'm gonna let my dog on you.
Yeah, I know. He looked like he was growing just more mad every week, man. That's hard for a man like that. Done as much winning as he's done. It's hard to lose like that.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's hard to go to mediocrity like that in the last 4 seasons when you're always been the talk of the town. Mac Jones, decent game, 2 touchdowns, probably the best game he's had from an efficiency standpoint. Passing the football. I know he passed for 300 a couple of times, but 25 for 30 is probably his best completion percentage because he's been horrible. Nothing crazy about the run. Dramondre, 9 carries, 34 yards. Zeke found the end zone. I know, and again, just more of the same, right? There's nothing downfield. 63 for Kevin Bourne. I mean, it's like Kendrick Bourne. I'm sorry. Nothing crazy. Look, Ramondre's been used a lot in the passing game, and I think that's what they need to do, more like like they do with Kamara. This is what Ramondre can do, and this is going to help you be competitive in games, pretty much for the Bills. There's not much they could do, but that they could do well with Ramondre.
Man, I see Pharaoh Brown's name on that list for receiving right there. A couple of catches, 51 yards. I didn't realize he was playing for them. And I like that guy back when he was at South Carolina. Back there, that guy was an electrifying athlete, man. I'd like to see him get more involved in that offense because you don't have that guy down the field that's a deep threat. Much like yourself and your New York Giants. We'll talk about them a little bit, but the same thing with Jalen Hyde. He got a little more involved yesterday. Hey, it opened up the game a little bit, opened up the run game a little bit. Let's go. Do it more, man. Get these guys that got all that energy and all that speed. Get them involved, man. Make it
Absolutely.
fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I'm not gonna go crazy on the Bills here, but I know they're giving James Cook a hard time. But look, man, he had 56 rushing yards. He's been rushing over like 40 something yards almost every game this season, getting the carries. This time around, he actually was involved in the passing game and scored a touchdown. They need to find a type of balance here, man. And I don't know. I have a feeling. Well, I don't have a feeling. They need to make a trade that's gonna help this offense. Because if not, it's gonna be a lot of the same and a first round out in the playoffs when it comes to the Bills.
Man, I'm not so sure they're making the playoffs. Not at this rate, man. I'm really
Yeah,
not.
true.
That's a tough division they got over there. The Jets, you can't count them Jets out yet. You've already went to New England and lost at this point.
It's true.
I just think there's a lot of problems up there. I see if you saw the interview, the press conference with Josh Allen after that game, but he looked like a defeated quarterback, man. And he's sitting there and it's obviously it's tough times right now and all this different stuff. And there's a lot of rumblings going on around. And like I said, James Cook, I don't think he's real happy. You see him get a lot of opportunities that should go to him if he's your future. They've been passed off to Latavius Murray, an aged guy that's been in the league for years. I understand but I think James Cook has been denied a lot of scoring opportunities. Maybe I'm bitter because he's on my fantasy team, but I still think the guy should be more involved. I like to see him the balance a little bit in the passing game, but this is a guy I totally see getting traded somewhere and going and wind up having a great career, but I don't think they're using him right in Buffalo.
Yeah, I think he has the potential. I think there's a lot of things going wrong here. There's turmoil in the locker room, and we know that from the beginning of the year. I mean, you got Stephon Diggs saying after the game that I really feel bad when I let my fantasy and the people that drafted me for fantasy and messing up parlays or something like that. It was a tweet. Somebody quoted him saying that and I'm like, oh shit, he's got to get investigated. He's talking about betting here. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's not him betting, but what the hell, man? Don't put yourself out there like that, man. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think the only way you would, I don't know, Stefan, but I think the only way you would be dumb enough to tweet something like that is if you knew your hands were squeaky clean.
No, somebody quoted him. He didn't tweet it himself. Somebody quoted him that they said that. So let's see what happens.
Oh, shit. Then well, it's my word against yours then.
Exactly.
But hey,
exactly.
they might start looking, man.
Hey, man, and I know you mentioned your boy Jalen Hyatt, but man, I like you've been preaching it all year long, and I agree with you. We need to let him loose. Yeah, it's hard to get him, but let me tell you something, dude. I think we're almost there from a breakaway, touchdown, man, because he, hit him deep a couple of times. All right, and he opened up that drive where Waller got his touchdown, man. But Jalen Hyatt again, the speedster, 75 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5 targets. I like that. I like, I would love to see this more often. Target him, more than 4 or 5 times.
I'm saying, man, you got to get the kid's a ball player, man.
Yeah,
I watched him all the last 2 years at Tennessee. The kid is a ball player. He is a burner. He's a sure-handed receiver. Runs pure, crisp routes. I know you've had a lot of offensive line troubles. I know your quarterback doesn't have a lot of time to let him get down the field. Doesn't matter if you run a 4-3 or not. But Tyrod Taylor, I don't know, man. Let me get your opinion, man. I think Tyrod Taylor gives y'all a better shot to win than Daniel Jones right now.
Right now, based on the last 2 games, he has. He looks like he does. I just think that the offensive line is playing a lot better.
And it is the big guy.
And also remember this matchup with the Commanders. It's kind of tailor made for bad teams because the defense has been playing great in the last 3 games, right? And you remember Howell has actually been more sacked than Daniel Jones. Their offense is even worse. So I think it's just a matchup. But don't get me wrong, Tyrod has been playing by the numbers on paper. Yes, better than Danny Dimes.
And maybe getting Justin Pugh, maybe getting him in there, maybe that does help that offensive line. Is Thomas back yet?
I think he's going to be back week 8, if I'm not mistaken, or 9.
Okay.
Something like that.
I don't know how many times Tyrod got sacked this past weekend in this game. I didn't watch play this game. I'll be honest. I didn't get to.
Yeah, I was watching Red Zone.
My Bucks were on, and I didn't get to watch it play. But I don't know that Tyrod doesn't escape that pocket a little better, give himself a little more time, and the offensive line playing better. You can't be short on
4 times. There was 4 sacks allowed by the Giants and 6 by Washington.
God, that's still way too many, man.
Yeah, it's a lot, man. It's a lot. The 2 teams are the 2 worst offensive lines went at each other, bro. And the one with the slightly better line, which is not saying much by the Giants, boom, won the game. That's just a story of the game. Yeah. One quarterback had more time than the other to throw. You know what I'm saying?
This NFL football is so crazy because mark my words, man, you're going to see the Commanders. I don't know if they'll get the win, but they're going to go back home next week. They're going to play the Philadelphia Eagles. They're going to be in that football game, man.
Oh, they were. Remember a couple of
They're
weeks
going to be in
ago.
it. They play them again next week.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
it's going to happen. They were in it in Philadelphia. They're
Yep.
definitely going to be in it down in Washington, man.
And here's the thing: why also Tyrod has looked better. Remember, he has Saquon Barkley back. Saquon makes the quarterback, whoever's starting in that team, a lot better. I mean, when you look at Saquon's numbers, he can do it all. You know what I'm saying? 77 rushing yards, right? Even though it wasn't a great yards per average, carries per yard under 4. But however, look what he does. He caught a touchdown also, and you should have seen the move without reception. I mean, it's just him.
Oh, I bet,
Saquon
man.
is just a major decoy where the play action just rolls well. That's why Danny Dimes was so good last year. You know how many of those play action bootlegs and Danny ran it for the first down or ran it in the end zone? So remember, Saquon hasn't played with Daniel Jones yet, right? Remember, Daniel Jones went out against Miami and hasn't played in the last 2 games. So I think that's why also Tyrod Taylor has looked better. I think the offensive line is playing slightly better thanks to off the couch boy Pugh.
Yeah,
And
I love that guy.
And then of course having Saquon back helps that offense tremendously. So I think that's been the reason why Taylor has looked better, in my opinion, as a Giants fan.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. I'm not a Daniel Jones hater. I'm not ready to call for his head or burn him at the stake or any of that stuff. I think he's been in a tough spot, and it's hard to throw the football if you can't stand upright. You get sacked 11 times in one game. That break anybody's confidence, man. So yeah, I'm not against him yet. I like to see him get back and see what. I mean, obviously he's a much younger guy. He's a much more physically gifted guy at this point in his career than Tyrod Taylor is. But
Tyrod's nice.
Shout out to Tyrod Taylor, man. You could have a lot worse backups than that. That man's went out and gave you a chance. He gave you a chance to win in Buffalo and then won the game for you this week. That's a great game by that guy.
I mean, he's a veteran, man, and he's a veteran that can do what he's supposed to be doing right now. Your starting quarterback gets hurt, put him in there. Tyrod's also injury prone himself, but however, man, he's going to give you those quality starts and wait until your starter comes back. So
ultimate professional, man.
Exactly. This is a dude that's been in the league now. I can't believe he's been in the league now 12 years.
I know, bro. That's nuts, man.
That's crazy. Seems like it was yesterday when I was Tyrod Taylor, getting. Yeah. I can only remember him. Remember, he started for Buffalo, but he wasn't a starter in the team that drafted him. So
yeah, I feel like he's like my age or maybe like a year younger than me.
Maybe
like
he's around that time. Man,
like I said, I'm 35, man. So he's been in the league for a minute.
12 years, man. 12 years. And of course, man, the Kansas City, another guy that's been in the league for many years has been Andy Reid. And finally, Kansas City, man, they step up to the plate every time they play the Chargers, and their offense was clicking this time around. And I don't know, maybe it's a thing that even though Nicole Hardman, had a couple of nice punt returns there, you know what I mean, wasn't involved too much in the offense here, but I think it's more like a moral victory of having Hardman back, you know what I mean? But shit, man, they look good offensively.
Yeah, man, they seem to be inspired by Mecole Hardman back in the locker room. Kelsey talked about it afterwards, said he just brings a lot of energy back to that team. A guy that's been in that offense for years, doesn't have to practice or any of that. He can fall right back in there and run most of the stuff they've been running for years. This is about the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yes.
This is a team, but they were in this game. They were in this game, but I still think they got all kinds of problems. There's too many weapons. You got too good of a quarterback. Just Herbert's missing some throws, man.
Yeah.
He's missing some open guys in spots. He's done it a few times this year. I love that guy. I think he's a freak. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks, has the potential to be the best quarterback in the NFL if it all clicks together. But he is missing some throws right now that are really costing them in spots. And I think they got all kinds of problems. I think Brandon Staley's about to lose the locker room, man. I've said all along. I'm going to keep saying it every week. I've said all along he would be the first coach in the NFL fired this year. I think it's coming, man. I think this is going to get worse for him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, Mahomes, again, GOAT performance. I almost threw him in there with the GOAT of the week, but the Chiefs are rolling, regardless of not looking as great as they did last year. 6 straight wins. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing, beating bad teams, whether they look bad or good. But this is one of their better offensive performances of the year. Patrick had 4 touchdowns, 424 yards. Him and Kelsey just went ham again. That's just, what they do. I think they're like the 5th tight end and quarterback duo and touchdowns combined, and connections. They're behind like Antonio Gates and Rivers. They're behind Gronk and Brady. And I forget who the other one is. I think the other one was Gonzalez, and I forget who the quarterback was. But they're like number 4 now, man. And then like all the other guys got maybe 20 more touchdowns than this duo. But I mean, shoot, they've been together a lot less than the other guys. So
they won't quit playing football till they got that record.
Yeah, I think so too.
And
I hope that Kelsey can stay healthy. You know what I'm saying?
I was going to say, obviously, Pat Mahomes got some more years than Kelsey in front of him. There are going to be some years that Patrick Mahomes has to play without Travis Kelsey. That's just going to be part of it.
Absolutely.
And but I think they're going to play long enough to get that record.
Yep. And let me tell you something. Rashee Rice is looking better and better week after week. All right, another
Oh, I
touchdown.
love that guy, man.
Rashid Rice is looking better and better, and I still think they need to pull a nice trade here. I don't know, man. What do you think? You think Derrick Henry may end up here?
Uh,
Would that be would that be a move they need to pull?
I don't know,
Wise? I mean,
man.
I don't know.
I don't know. You'd have to look at salary caps and
Yeah,
contracts and all that stuff. I don't know. I don't know how much room they got. I've talked to my guy
yeah,
Will. Game on, man. I talked to him and see he's the salary cap guy and knows all
yep.
that stuff. But I mean, that would be crazy. I don't know if that's the guy that would fit into this offense that well, though. That's more of a you needed somebody that can catch the ball in the backfield. I don't think they use Pacheco enough. You see a
Yep.
game like what he had against the Jets where he just looked
Mhm.
great. I know
Yep.
he was in his hometown running like a man
Mhm.
on a mission, but I haven't seen that guy come back out since that game. And they do got to figure something out at the run back position, but I think the Kansas City Chiefs are just fine, man. I think these guys are just fine. You talk about Rashid Rice. I think that's a guy
Mhm.
that, especially if you got some issues at wide receiver on, Justin Jefferson on IR, some of that stuff. I think Rashid Rice is the guy you go look at on the waiver wire and scoop that guy while you still can.
Yeah.
'Cause I think he is going to continue to get better. That dude's a football player. He's in a good offense, and the more rapport they build each week, he's going to get better and better.
Absolutely, absolutely. Next game we got on deck here. The Seahawks again did not look sharp against a really bad Arizona team. Yeah, they won it 20-10. But man, I again miss opportunities here. Geno Smith is definitely not as sharp as he was last year. I know DK was out, but they still have enough talent, dude. You know what I'm saying, man, to blow this team out. Um, hey, they're over 500 and they're a well coached team. Secondary solid. Kenneth Walker the third is having a hell of a second year running back, and dude, that's what's keeping them afloat, man. That running game is helping them out a lot. I mean, I know Metcalf was out, but I think they have enough. JSN and Lockett are good enough to be 1-2 punch. So I just see Geno. I don't see Geno Smith as comfortable as he was last year. Am I
Yeah, I
wrong about
mean,
that?
he's still completing,
Yeah.
70% of it. They didn't throw it that much. Kenneth Walker the third, like you said, playing really, really well. Doesn't have to throw the ball as much right there. This is a game when you take a DK Metcalf out of a lineup, a guy that is that important to your offense, that important to your team. I mean, that guy is an absolute monster. He is a thoroughbred monster freak. And when you take him out of the lineup, I know you got other guys out there, Tyler Lockett and JSN, but they don't have the same type of game that DK Metcalf has. He's not that guy. DK Metcalf's an intimidating guy. He's the type of guy that can keep defensive coordinators up at night. So when you take him out, I'm
Mhm.
not ready. Geno still had an efficient game. I know he threw the pick, but yeah, you're right. You got to punch the ball in spots. But Seahawks are another team that I think are all right, man, because Geno's doing enough right now. And this Cardinals, I know they're a bad team. I know they're 1-6, but this has been
For
a
the scrappy.
scrappy Cardinals
Yep.
team, man. They've been in a lot of these games they've lost. They've lost a lot of games by less than 2 touchdowns. So I don't think this is a terror. This is a good win. They still got 10-point win right here. They covered the spread. I had a -9.5. Got
Yep.
that hook, baby.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah,
man.
they're
That at
good.
the
But
end
they
there,
got.
where they kicked that field goal, I know you were happy because he wasn't looking. It wasn't looking good though, man. I was like,
I know, man. I know. Hey, clean living. I did get one to go my way this week. But yeah, I think the Seahawks going to be all right. But you're right. Got to get more efficient in the red zone.
yep.
Got to punch in opportunities. Quit turning the ball over, man.
So in Wake and Rake, we called Deontay Foreman, right? We said, scoop Deontay Foreman. I think he's gonna have a good game.
Yeah,
I think we did
yeah,
call it, right? And
yeah.
we also call JSN. Jason Smith, I think
Absolutely.
63 yards, 4 receptions, and a touchdown. Hey, that second one we called. I think we might have missed another one that we might have mentioned earlier, but hey, that's 2 that we
Yeah,
called. Remember,
we
these are
don't.
2 flex players, guys that were available in the waiver wire. Hey man, they perform, man. So we're 2 for 2 so far.
That's right. We can't pick them all, man. We ain't nobody gonna pick them all for you. But yeah, I got to give credit for JSN to my guy David over at Genesis
Mm-hmm.
Fantasy. Man, he had I did the TSS Fantasy show with him and Jordan on Friday night, and that's
Okay.
what David was preaching to me, man. He was telling me JSN's getting his first NFL touchdown this week. It's time. It's happening. It's his breakout week. And man, if he wasn't spot on the money.
Yeah, absolutely. No, he did a good job, man. And I've been high on JSN all year long. I think I got him. I haven't dropped him yet. I drafted him and I've been stashing him in my bench.
Yeah,
Because I have really
good
good wide
stash.
receivers. So,
Real good
but
stash
I'm
to have in a dynasty league.
yeah, exactly, man. And talking about a little bit of dynasty, man. The first time all year that I honestly saw Matt Canada actually called a decent game for once was this week. Uh, the combination that the Steelers, who they beat the Rams, a really good Rams team, 24-17, bro, they ran the ball well. They passed the ball well. And remember, we said that watch how Deontay Johnson and Wake and Rake, how good and what a difference he was going to make. And even though all the touchdowns were on the ground, uh, listen, dude, they passed. They had a good game. Look, 107 yards receiving for Pickens, 79 for Deontay. All right, Najee had 15, and then on the ground, dude, 53, 32 and rushing touchdowns. They look good. They look good offensively, even though it wasn't like a crazy ass barrage of points, but they look good offensively, man. For the first time, there wasn't any bumbleness over there or any screw ups, play calling wise from Matt Canada, who's been all year long has been messing it up.
Yeah, man. I've been high on this Rams team a lot.
Me too.
Building up to the year and stuff like that. I don't know. I think it might be time to reverse our stance a little bit, man, because what has this team really done? I've seen this team, this is a bad loss in my opinion. I know it's the
It is.
Steelers. I know it's Mike Tomlin, but I expected more out of this Rams team. I need to see how they respond. But if they go down to Dallas next week and they just lay an egg and get just whipped by that Cowboys team, I know it's a good Cowboys team. I'm not a fool. But it's not a great Cowboys team. And if they go down there and they can't respond and they're not in that football game, if they get blown out in Dallas next week, I'm gonna be done with the Rams, man. I think it's gonna get a lot worse for them. But if they go down there and they compete and they have a chance to win that game, they don't have to win it. But if they have a chance to win that game, then it'll be all right. But I got to see how they respond.
And I was worried about the running game, but look, Royce Freeman and Darrell Henderson picked up the slack for not having Kyren Williams. I mean, they rushed with 27 yards combined, including a touchdown. So they both played well. I mean, of course, Puka, man. I mean, this guy just keeps doing it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, think about this, dude. Puka is there's been wide receivers with multiple 150-yard games over the last decade, right? You know who they've been? Odell Beckham Jr., Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and now Puka Nacua. Puka Nacua is in the name with like two guys right now. Forget about Odell. He was good only because I hate
Still a goat, man. Still a goat, man.
Still a goat. Fuck that, man. Eli, brother. Eli, man. He dissed Eli too much.
I'm just saying some of them catches weren't great throws, man.
No, exactly. I get it. But I just keep telling myself that. All right. Eli has the 2 rings. But Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase in that same list with Puka Nacua, man. Come on, man. I think when the season started, if you were telling me Puka Nacua was going to be in the list with those two cats, I would have said, I don't know, man. I think
I couldn't have told you that, man.
I
do like to pat myself on the back. I've been a big Puka fan since he was at BYU. I do, but I don't think anybody could have, man. There ain't no way. I mean, unless you're Nostradamus or something, there ain't no way you could have foreseen Puka Nacua doing what he's doing, breaking records, man. I love this guy. What happened to Zach Evans in this game, man?
I don't know, man. Was he supposed to be the lead back on this game right here?
He was projected almost 12 fantasy points.
Yeah,
he was sitting there. There was a lot of people asking questions, and we're all like, "Hey, man, would you play Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, or Zach Evans?" And we're all like, "Hey, let's take a flyer on Zach Evans at this point. Why not? I mean, you're not getting much out of those other two guys. They actually both had decent games, both getting a touchdown. But Zach Evans, I don't even know if he suited up."
In my fantasy league, I had a guy that had all 4 Vikings running back: Royce Freeman, Darrell Henderson, Zach Evans, and I forget who the other one was, but he actually traded for Zach Evans.
Awful Rams running backs.
Yep, all 3. I'm sorry, all 4 Rams running back. Yeah, all 4, all 3. Yeah, but he had all 3 Rams running back, and he was deciding but he ended up starting Henderson. Believe it or not, at the end when he got picked up at the end of the week.
Oh man, he took a gamble. I mean,
he took a gamble, man. I think he lost 2 though. I think he lost a week though anyway, but it wasn't enough.
I think any running back that you're playing in the Rams offense going forward, even Kyren Williams when he gets healthy, man, I think any Rams running back you're playing going forward in fantasy, you are gambling with. You better have some real problems or bye weeks or whatever, but I think you are going to be on a gamble. They might give you a big week, but I think more times than not, they're going to give you one of those 3 or 4 pointers.
I am with you. But yeah, look, it's one of those things, man. And let's touch this game pretty briefly because, it was one of those things. 60-13, man, your Bucks. I don't want to rub.
No, you're good, man. You're good.
60-13. You're right. This is such a fuck up game that it should have been a win without hesitation here. All right. Baker hasn't looked. They looked a little bit like the old Baker in the last couple games. But I think the main issue here is they're having a hard time rushing this football, and when they can't rush the football, they have a hard time scoring as well. Against teams that have middle of the road kind of defense, which that's what the Atlanta Falcons are in my book.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. This is a game that was played for first place in the NFC South at this point. There's a lot of football left, but Baker didn't play terrible. He had a bad pick. No. He had a bad pick there at the end, but still threw for 275 and another touchdown. Yep. Mike Evans comes back, said look healthy, 6 receptions, 82 yards. Bijan didn't even play in this game.
No, that's what upsets me.
Yeah, you talk about running the football, man. You have to be able to run the football at the NFL level to be able to sustain drives,
Mhm.
keep your defense fresh. We're doing a lot of these 3 and outs. We also shoot ourselves in the foot a lot, man. You'll get a drive down in the red zone, and the first and 10 inside the red zone is a false start, back 5 or a holding penalty, and now you're playing behind the sticks. You wind up having to settle for a field goal. You're trading field goals for touchdowns against teams. I know this wasn't one of those games, but a lot of times you're taking those field goals right there in those spots. You should be getting 7 points. It's going to wind up coming back to bite you. And that's the Bucs are a solid football team. They're not a great football team. They've already heavily outperformed my expectations for this year. This is a game I feel like we should have won, and it might
Yep.
be one we look back at the end of the year and see this is one that slipped away from us. But you got to give credit to the Falcons. I hate the fucking Falcons, but
Yeah,
you got to
me
give
too.
credit to them.
They play ugly, bro. It's an ugly, ugly offense, right? I mean, Terry Algier and Cordell Patterson made an appearance, and they both picked up the slack for Bijan not being there. That's how many good running backs they have in that freaking team, all right? When fucking Cordell Patterson hasn't made an appearance all year long and then comes into the game and averages like 5 point something yards per carry. You know what I mean, dude? It's
I
what he
love
does.
Cordell Patterson.
Yeah, me too, man.
He's a ball legend, man.
He is.
I love Cordell Patterson, and I think he just found his position in the NFL way too late in his career.
I know, man. I know. And look, he had some good seasons. He got a contract out of that, a couple of seasons ago. So shout out to him, man. I mean, this guy is the switchblade, brother. He's a switchblade.
He has 9 kickoff returns for touchdowns, man.
Mhm.
This guy, and he's a monster dude. This is a big guy. And I love Cordell Patterson, but it was good to see them pick up the slack because that last minute scratch by Bijan put a lot of us in a bad spot from a fantasy standpoint. We got 0.3 points out of him. He had 1 carry for 3 yards and 3 minutes to go in the game. So that was pretty rough, man. That was pretty rough.
I mean, talk about a rough performance here when it came to the betting side, because I know none of us called the over on this game.
I took the Colts. I didn't call the over. I didn't touch the total. I took the Colts in the 3.5.
Yeah, but you did. You did. I mean, you took the Colts, and they did. They covered. You know what I'm saying? Because there was like plus 3.5, right?
Yeah,
barely.
Yep.
But what an insane game, bro. I mean, first and foremost, again, we could all agree that Mr. Deshaun Watson is a complete douchebag. All right, this guy is going to take off more and more games every single time. His coach is trying to cover for him by saying that I decided to make the decision. I don't care, man. This guy, if he wasn't going to play 100%, why have him in there, right? What's the point?
They've got a bad spot, man.
They are, man.
They got way too much money. They are Browns so and Browns. This is why this team can't win a championship.
Nope.
They've got a lot of the pieces in place, man. And they keep blowing money on stupid shit. And once again, they got a quarterback problem again, man.
Yep. Dude, they are wasting one of the best defenses. Yeah. All right. That's probably graced a damn gridiron in Cleveland or any other team right now. Myles Garrett is that effing dude. And has been that dude now for like 4 or 5 years. And right now, the twilight of his career, I mean, where he's like the highlight of his career, where he's killing it up there with TJ Watts. He's as good as anybody up there with Bosa. It doesn't matter. This dude is a beast. The running game without freaking Chubb, who gets hurt, still is very, very, very impressive, right? They got Amari Cooper. Dude, you don't have many years left of Amari Cooper, who is a hell of but you could see how bad the offense for Dallas is struggling without him. So this is such a team that they're stuck now, and they're going to be mediocre because, yes, that defense is going to carry them in games. And that division, that's just the way that's what they do in the AFC North. But it's a shame. They're so stuck with Deshaun Watson, it's not even funny.
Yeah, man. I couldn't believe that the Colts, Gardner Minshew had a good game. He had a really I was on his over on his passing yard, but it was only like 195 or something. I think he damn near
it was
doubled
crazy.
It. What do you have? 305? Yeah.
Yeah, 300, dude, back to back.
The NFL, the referees stole this football game from the Indianapolis Colts, man. I know that everybody wants to talk about the pass interference and all that stuff, which was totally an uncatchable ball. The cameraman behind him had a way better chance to catch that ball than was it Omari Cooper they were throwing to?
Yes.
But anyway, the play right before that, where the Colts sacked, fumbled, and got the fumble recovery, and they called illegal contact on the field where Omari Cooper and I can't remember who the DB was, were battling back and forth. That was not illegal contact, man.
No. I mean, the refs did that all day long at different games. I mean, this is like they've been making themselves way too much of the spotlight and not letting these players win the games. All right, so it's not a good thing for the NFL and definitely needs to be visited and checked out because it's bullshit. It's really messing up the quality of the game.
Somebody needs to have a referee meeting and tell these guys, the white hats, all these cats, that ain't a single soul in this entire stadium or watching at home that paid to see you, man.
Absolutely.
We're supposed to know that you ain't even there. That's what makes a great referee is
Yep.
if I do not even know you're on the field, man. You're just
Mhm.
doing your job and policing the situation and handling what you're supposed to. I'm not even supposed to know you're there, man. I shouldn't know your name by the end of the
Nope.
game. I shouldn't see you
Nope.
that many times. Let the boys play.
There's too many referees that their names are being
Yeah,
voiced out and being public now
they're trying
on
to be
games. Like
celebrities, man.
exactly. I mean, when you have red zone, what's his name? I forget the guy that does red zone. Like saying the ref's names, bro. That's a problem. When he knows the ref's
Yeah.
name, that's a problem.
That's what I'm saying. We don't need to know that, man.
Nope.
That
Nope.
actually is a problem. That's the NFL doing that,
Yep.
man. By
Yep.
promoting those guys, putting their names to there, they should be faceless people, man.
Yep.
We don't
Yep.
need to know who you are. Don't need to know your
Mhm.
name. That's how you wind up getting death threats and stuff, man. They're announcing your name over there. They know where to find you. We shouldn't even be announcing these man's name.
That's
Just let
true,
them get
man.
out there and do their job.
You're not famous, bro. You don't have security like the players. So
No,
might as well just
no.
stay under the weeds, man.
Yeah, no, you
You know,
don't. We don't need that, man.
you know who didn't stay under the weeds? Jonathan Taylor, man.
Hmm.
Comeback
Hmm.
game, 75 on the ground. Hey,
Yep.
another week that he almost gets 50 receiving yards, right? I like this balance. I like the fact that they mixed it up, gave both guys the same amount of carries.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. Zach Moss is that damn good. He proved it while Taylor was gone. I think you could use both of these guys 50-50 snaps, man, and whoever takes off is going to take off. It's you know how difficult it's going to be to guard this, and like you said, Minshew, man, Minshew mania. He is serviceable enough to do hit the play action and do what he did again. You know what I'm saying? He's going to throw some picks, but guess what? And he's also going to throw for 300 yards with only
And
23 attempts.
And he even had 2 touchdowns on the ground, man. The
Yeah,
Gardner
yeah.
getting the job done. He had a great game, man. He
He
deserved
did.
to win this game.
He
They
did.
stole this game from him. We're
He
done.
did.
We talked about all that. But yeah, great game
He did.
by them. And it might be too late, but if you can in some of your leagues, you better be trying to get Jonathan Taylor on the cheap while you still can,
Yeah.
man. He about to be back, and he about to be the old JT as long as he stays healthy. And I think he is, man. And he looks
Yep.
getting more incorporated in this offense. Zach Moss is going to take some carries from him, but you're going to see it's going to go more 60-40, 65-35 Jonathan Taylor's way in the coming weeks.
Yep. And think about this. Josh Downs, back-to-back great weeks.
Yeah.
Pittman, again, even Alec Pierce is getting it. You notice that they're hitting these guys. They're not just like dink and donking the damn football here with Gardner Minshew, man. They're slinging it. So
they are slinging it. Pittman, he bailed us out with that deep touchdown, but he was having a rough game before that. Only 5 targets right there. But hey, like I said, you got 2 running backs with 18 carries apiece, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. You didn't throw it all that much, but yeah, that was a good balanced offense by the Colts, and they deserve to win the game, man. They do.
Absolutely. I'm with you 100%. Now, man, let's go to the matchup, the marquee matchup of the week, which, by the way, I think you and I both pick the following team to win, while I think everybody else was saying that they were high on the Miami Dolphins, bro. And I think you and I said, I think we both like the Eagles because they represent a similar matchup to the Bills that beat Miami convincingly earlier in the season, and that's exactly what happened.
Yes, sir, man. We were on this thing, man. I texted in our group chat with Eric and Chris and Will and Heavy Steps, all of them. I said, hey, Eagles, right before the game kicked off, I said, Eagles by 10 plus, man. And I texted my buddy Buku and told him Eagles by 10 plus. He put it in Eagles -9. They got it like plus 265 or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, they look like the better football team. And this only 10 of these points were scored by the Miami offense.
Mm-hmm.
That other was a pick 6 right there. I thought they were going to screw us right there when he threw that pick 6. But they bounced back and went and got the job done. The Dolphins, I'm fading them in big games, man. I haven't seen them step up in a big spot against a really good team just yet, especially a smash mouth team with a good defense. I know speed kills and all that stuff, but when they run up against one of these buzzsaw defenses, man, and that Buffalo defense they played was a lot better defense back then than it is now. When you had Tre'Davious White and Matt Milano out there, that's a lot better defense. So when they run up against a big-time defense, they've got smacked in the mouth and held in check, and I'm going to start fading these guys in big games so they can prove to me otherwise.
Listen, when you get physical with Miami, that's what happens. All right?
Yeah.
When you get physical with Miami, you run the football, right? You start the bread and butter. That's what happens. I mean, right now, let me see how many sacks. Miami was sacked 4 times. All right. When you get to Tua like that, and then of course, Darius Slay had a pick. And these guys, their secondary, just like Buffalo are physical. And they were physical with Tyreek Hill. Yeah, let Tyreek Hill get 20 reception as long as you keep them with their 100 yards. It was pretty much you did not let Tyreek beat you at any time because you were putting your damn hands on him. And same thing with Waddle. Waddle should have never come back to the game. Put it that way. Give him credit because he got
tough guy.
Yeah,
man.
Tough guy, man. But that's how you beat Miami by putting these motherfuckers on the ground, dude. And that's why you got to stop speed, and usually speed gets stopped by somebody getting cross line or something like that. You know what I mean, dude?
Absolutely. Well, and this has been the most balanced offense in the NFL. I
Yes.
mean, one of the most balanced offenses in NFL history. Only the second team to score 15 rushing touchdowns, 15 passing touchdowns in the first 6 games.
Yep.
They just got shut down, man. They couldn't run the football. The Eagles really established the line of scrimmage early on, smacked them in the mouth, and they couldn't run the football. It took Mostert forever to get out of negative fantasy points there for a little bit.
Yep.
And when you take the running game away from this team and you got to force Tua to throw it, you get some pressure on him right there. I mean, it's hard. I don't care how fast your wide receivers are. You know, you only got to cover him for just a second if you're getting the pressure on him like they were. This is going to be a problem for the Dolphins. They're going to have to figure out some ways to get some guys involved quicker. I mean, they're going to have to use some of more of that RPO stuff. Some of those running backs moving out of the backfield. It'll help when they get Achane back. He's still going to be out a couple more weeks. But right now, man, the way to beat the Dolphins, stop them running the football and make Tua beat you throwing the ball.
Hey, Dallas Goedert, brother, another good game. I mean, he's starting to pick it up.
That's another one. Tight end weekend, man. Another
tight end weekend, baby.
I know that's what we said after he
AJ Brown is. Yeah,
Oh,
AJ Brown's just in another different pace right now, dude.
Monster,
That's
bro.
insane.
Monster.
I mean,
and, you know, and we talked about how it might be hurting this offense. It didn't look like this week. They look
no, not this week. You know what? It's because hey, listen. What's his name? Goddard had himself had another touchdown in the red zone and then 77 yards. It's kind of like what you look for Devontae Smith. So, but AJ right now is just complaining about his performance. He has 10 receptions and 137 yards in this game, 7 receptions, 131 in another game, 6 receptions, 127, 9 for 175, 9 for 131. Man, he is just on another receiving yard tear right now. It's not even funny.
15 targets on Sunday night. Yeah. They heard him loud and clear when he went to, the Titans still. Every time they see him do this, they got to just be rolling over, man, because that's the guy they need in that offense right there. That helps. It makes your quarterback better if you got a guy like AJ Brown out there. But yeah, Goddard had a big game. Devontae Smith still caught some balls. I want to see him get more involved. I thought he was going to give him a touchdown the other night. He didn't, but I don't know how we didn't bet Goddard first touchdown score after we heard all that shit about tight end day on Kelsey.
What's crazy is that it's funny. He was that good also in Tennessee, and he was the reason why what's his name was playing decent also. But he could never get these numbers in Tennessee, man, because you can't compare him to what's his name.
Yeah.
What do you think of Monday night, man? Monday night was rough, bro. For the 49ers all of a sudden, man, are looking really mediocre here, man. And I was impressed by the Vikings, but what was not impressed and I was disappointed is that they never got to the quarterback. San Francisco did not get to freaking Kirk Cousins, what is up with that? That is a thing that doesn't happen.
Man, this was I was heavy on the Vikes last night. Actually, it felt like a weird line.
Okay.
The line kept creeping down. I took Vikes plus 3.5 first half, Vikes plus 7 for the game, and then I sprinkled a little bit on the money line too at plus 265, I think it was. But yeah, it just felt like a weird game, man. It felt like a spot where you had all these questions with injuries coming into the game. You knew, big lineman, I'm forgetting his name right now. You knew he was going to be out.
Okay.
Trent Williamson.
That's right.
Is that it? Trent Williamson.
Yeah. He the one that he got hurt in the previous game and he came back into the game. But I guess
he knew he was out. You knew Debo was going to be out. You thought McCaffrey was going to play. It was looking like he was going to play, and he played well. Got his record, man. Credit to him. 16 straight games with a touchdown. Only got to do that, yeah. But as a whole, the 49ers just didn't look great. Brock Purdy had him a tough game. Everybody wants to call for his head. It's not time just yet, man. They were in that game. He drove them right down the field, gave them a chance to win that game in Cleveland. But last night he throws a couple picks, had a tough game. That's part of it, man. Everybody has tough games. He was on the road in a tough environment, playing against quarterback that I think the narrative with Kirk Cousins, we always talk about primetime Kirk Cousins is a bum. I think I've seen him play 2 teams. Now, I know they weren't really in that Philly game. They came back to make it look good at the end, but he still had a decent game. And this is 2 primetime games against 2 of the teams that I think are the better ones in the NFL now, where he's played really, really well. So we might have to lose that narrative.
I think so, too. I think, he's – and look, no JJ in the team, but, hey, I've been high on Addison all year long. I actually drafted him, and I got him spread on a few teams. And Addison is a real deal, man. He has 6 touchdowns in the season, and 4 of those have come with Jefferson, or 3 of them have come with Jefferson. The other 3 have come out without Jefferson. We could know what he could do. And, man, that one interception practically that he saved and was a touchdown, that shows you how great hands this kid has and how strong he is as well. Rip it out from the corner and then just take it off.
That was so great. Man. But I'm sorry, I did not mean to interrupt you right there, but the play you're talking about where he took the touchdown, it's so crazy. Right before that, about the 3rd play of the game, Kirk Cousins threw one to him, and Ward right there yanked it from him for the pick.
Yep.
And so it was almost carbon copies of that play later. And
Yep.
Addison got him on the second one for the big touchdown right before halftime. But yeah, I'm with you, man. That guy is a player. This is a good football team. These are two teams. We talked about the Rams a little bit earlier. They're both sitting at 3-4 now. And it's so funny how things change in the months of the NFL season.
Yep.
We were high on the Rams about a month ago. Everybody down on the Vikings. And now the Vikings have won 3 out of 4, one against the 49ers. This is a team that may be kind of finding its way. Cam Akers, got to give a shout out to him. Alexander Madison had a good game, but Cam Akers is kind of looking like he might wind up getting the lion's share of the carries down the stretch in this thing, kind of finding a spot in this offense where he looked good carrying the football last night, looked healthy. That's the biggest thing for him. But yeah, this Vikings team is a team trending in the right direction. And you see I know the Lions were kind of running away with that division, but now we see them lose at Baltimore. The Vikings get this win. Hey, that division's tightened up. The Vikings ain't out of it just yet, man.
It's funny because I'm one of those guys that probably gonna end up with egg on my face because I stuck a fork in them last week. You know what I'm saying? I was they're 2-4, man.
Right.
I don't care if they beat the other team. Without JJ, and then hopefully they're gonna start looking to trade Kirk Cousins or whatever with he's really high valued right now. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be one of those that I'm gonna probably gotta take back. But and they have a really soft schedule the remaining of the way or the next 6 games.
What I'm saying. They've kind of weathered this storm. They've got through the biggest part, having to play Philadelphia and San Francisco in prime time games early on in the first half of this thing. I think if you'd have told them that you're going to have to play one of those without Justin Jefferson and you're going to get out of it 1-1 in those 2 games, I think they'd have been okay with that. They'd have took that.
Yep. And it's a shame. I thought Brandon Ayuk was going to have a much bigger impact in this game, and he didn't. That's a detriment. Yep. I mean, he should have had a field day. He should have had a field day out there, just beating everybody because the Vikings don't have a great defense. They don't have a great secondary. That's been their problem all year long. They've been playing a lot of close games that they lost. But I mean, shoot, man. I don't know. Maybe it's just one of those things that you got to go through in the season, and then they'll just the 49ers are still that damn good. But like you said, I think it got into their heads a little bit. People like us, especially me, who crowned them to be the best team in the NFL 2 weeks ago. And then they lose 2 straight games. That's just, I guess, the way it happens.
And yeah, it's just the NFL, man. They got a lot of guys banged up too. I don't see any team in the NFL this year winning 15 games. That means you got to lose at least 3 of them. And I think the 49ers are going to be just fine. They've got, like I said, a lot of guys banged up. They're going to get healthy. Greenlaw's even been banged up. He played last night, played well, but still been banged up. Fred Warner got banged up a little bit last night, but he's fine. They're going to be okay. They're going to get everybody back, and they'll be rolling just fine. But I don't think anybody in the NFL. Do you think any team in the NFL is going to win 15 games this year? Go 15-2?
No, I don't think so. Look, I know Kansas City 6-1 right now, and so is the Eagles. But the Eagles are going to end up facing, they play San Francisco one this year as well. They got to face Dallas again, and they got to play them better. There's more teams. It's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna be. I don't think so. I think there's gonna be. You got to have a lot of 3-loss. Maybe I might be surprised. I mean, maybe 1 3-loss team, right? It's.
You heard it here first, man. I think the Eagles might lose at the Commanders next week.
I mean, look, based on their previous game, fucking Commanders played them really, really good, and they almost won the game.
If I'm getting close, if that line stays, I'm gonna take it for sure if it starts creeping down because I'm gonna know something's up then. But I'm thinking about taking the Commanders in the 6.5 points right there because I think that's gonna be a close game, and it wouldn't. I might sprinkle a little bit on that Commanders money line.
Oh man, shit! Yeah, that's it. I don't know, man. Well, I won't fade you, bro. But I'll follow you.
Tune into Wake and Rake to find out.
Oh yeah, man. Hey, that's the day that you stamp it. You know what I mean? It's right before. It's usually by the time we're done is about 30-40 minutes before the injury reports come out. So that's when you bam. That's when you send your tweet out.
Yep, that's when my mind's made up, man. I usually get it posted about 11:45, man. So yeah, that's when I'll be ready to go. That's when you'll know.
And you know what, man? I forgot to hit this earlier, but with that being said, I mean, I don't think I have to tell you who the losers of the week are, right? Well, we're gonna show them next. Wait a minute.
Loser. Le who? The her.
Losers of the week, my friend, absolutely have to be the Detroit Lions. Okay?
Ooh, okay.
You just don't come in into somebody's. It was just a complete ass whooping, dude. It was bad. It was bad. Every category. I mean, they got beat on everything. First downs, rushing yards, passing yards. It was just bad. Sacks allowed. Every single red zone opportunities. It was just such an annihilation for the Ravens, man. And again, what was it, back-to-back week? Wasn't Goff like, quarterback one in the league, top-rated passer or something like that? I mean, this kid was over 300 yards, multiple touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, even ran one in 1 week. He was like the man in the last couple of weeks, and he was just reduced to nothing. Couldn't get
Yeah,
anything.
we talk about all this media talking about how great all these other guys are and how the team's hearing it. Well, this other team that you're going to play hears it all that time too. So they're sitting there. They want to kind of bring you down off your pedestal a little bit. And I think the Ravens were ready to play in this thing. They had a great game plan. Really made Jared Goff uncomfortable early. I was glad to see Jahmyr Gibbs get more involved in this thing. Please keep doing that for us, those of us that have him in the fantasy world out there. But I like that guy, and I think they get him more involved, make that offense better. But the line's gonna be okay. They're still a good football team.
Yeah.
And they just ran into a buzzsaw against a team that it was equally as good, if not better, and played well, played a great game at home, and just they'll be all right. Cut the tape, move on.
It was time. Jahmyr Gibbs had his best game as a rookie, 68 rushing yards and 11 carries, a touchdown, now over 6 yards per carry. And then, of course, I think he could do this over and over again. 9 receptions, 58 yards. We both said he's kind of like Kamara, kind of like an Alvin Kamara, probably even faster. So that's what happened. I think they're going to be okay. They're going to be fine. They're going to be fine. I think they're going to be just fine. And you want to know what's something before we move on to the power rankings, before we end the show. So one of the parlays I hit, right? I decided to hit, I use BetUS. And I decided to go in and use one of their exotics. I don't like I like making my own shit. I don't like picking exotics or specials, but they had an exotic parlay that it was picking the leader of that particular, or the 1 o'clock games. So I picked Amon St. Brown to be the leader, the leading wide receiver in yards for the 1 o'clock games. And then when I saw the beginning of the game, I'm like, oh, fuck. With 102 yards, he led every receiver in the 1 o'clock games. And then I parlayed it. Yes. And I parlayed it with Barkley being the leading rusher.
Wow.
As well. And both, because they were both like, the two, not the first choice, it was the second choice. And that's what got me. Yeah, dude, it was like freaking, like 2,000 plus 2,000 odds or something like that.
That's a 20-1 winner right there, man.
It was, man. I didn't put a lot of money on it. I put like, $20 on it. I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah,
dude, I
put a lot to win a bunch on them.
Dude, and I told you, when I did that, not only that put me way whole this week, but then it chipped into like last week, put me home from last week. You know what I'm saying, dude? So I was like, it was one of those things that.
Hey, that's good, clean living, my man.
Man, so I was like this. I'm like, damn it, man. But the way that the Lions were playing, I'm like, oh fuck, this shit's over, man. I mean, he got a lot of those garbage yards, but guess what? When I was looking at him, I'm like, holy crap.
That's the thing. When the team goes down, they go down early. They got to throw the football to try to get back in that thing. You'd like to have the number 1 receiver right there. Man.
I know. I wish Jared Goff would have done better, because I started him in one of my leagues and he completely shit the bed. I mean, it's like,
yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
He did. That's all right. He's still a ball player, man. He'll be all right. Detroit Lions fans don't hit the panic button just yet, man. You're gonna be all right.
Absolutely. All right, and let's close it out with, of course, man, my power rankings. Let's go ahead and toggle. Power rankings this week, my friend. This is what I got, and of course, I got the Eagles on my number 1 team. They skyrocketed 3 positions. Got the Chiefs as number 2. Yeah, the Chiefs beat. I think the Eagles have played. By beating the Miami Dolphins, shutting everybody down. Right. You know what I'm saying? Telling them, hey, guys, let's slow the roll on this team. We could beat them, all right? They're a great offensive, shining little toy, but they cannot play with the big boys. They're 0-2 right now against big competition. They get my number 1 pick. Chiefs are number 2, all right? Solid game.
Yeah.
Got the Ravens number 3, man. That's a big win. I mean, when you slap a 5-1 team, was everybody's starting to crowd them. I say, hey, what about the Lions, right? There was a lot of talks of the Lions. Well, the Lions are 5-1. Just like the Niners, just like the Eagles, just like the Chiefs. What's up? They could be in the mix, right? Well, they brought that team down to reality. So they get my respect. The Jags have won what, like 4 in a row now? I mean, it's like 3 in a row. I mean, they're on fire, bro. So
they look good, man. They look good.
And, my 49ers slide down 4 positions to number 5. Miami to number 6. Keep the Lions there at number 7. Listen, the Steelers break in at number 8 because they are in first place, if I'm not mistaken, right, in that division. Dallas had a bye week. I'm going to leave them kind of at 9. And look, I gotta give the Browns a little love, man. As much as I don't like Deshaun Watson, they get to crack it in over the Seahawks in my book. You know what I mean? They played without Deshaun Watson, winning 2 games in a row, beating the 49ers, and then coming over here and playing a Colts team that was playing like a man possessed, all right, from every angle. I mean, they're running the football, passing the football, and you're doing it out there with P.J. Walker not throwing a touchdown and 182 yards in back-to-back weeks. He had the same stat line practically back-to-back weeks.
Yeah.
You deserve to break the top 10 power rankings in my book. I don't know. That's
Yeah, I'm with you. It could be 10A and 10B right there with the Browns and the Seahawks at that point. You know, a lot of football left here. You know,
Yep,
another team we're
exactly.
kind of forgetting about. Another team that we're forgetting about that's kind of righted the ship that was on a bye last week. That's Cincinnati Bengals.
Yes.
You know, Joey Buckets is still if he's all the way healthy now, if he's past that calf thing, you know, we got to monitor that. I think we got to monitor that all season long. But I think he's as healthy. He looked as healthy as he had been in a while that last game they played down in Arizona. So I think he's going to be all right. So they got to be in that mix. But yeah, I think the rest of that list, man, I agree with. I like what I'm seeing out of the Steelers. Big game this week. The Jaguars travel to the Steelers. So, you know, they got the win against New Orleans. New Orleans got to learn how to put the ball in when they get in the red zone.
Yes, sir.
But
let me tell you something.
I'm anxious to see that Jaguars game, Steelers game, though.
Me too. That's a huge test for the Jaguars from a standpoint. They're playing a top 5 defense. Look what the Steelers did. I mean, look, the Rams got a good team, bro. I mean, you know, it's hard to you got Cooper Kupp and Puka, man. I mean,
a lot of
lining
weapons,
up
a lot of weapons,
and they listen. It's like the good old let Michael Jordan beat you and not the rest of the team. So they let one of their main studs get off, but not the other guy. And we'll see. We'll see with the Jags. I gotta see. I haven't even looked at the lines yet, but that's gonna be a game that I think people are gonna be going the other way on this one. You know what I mean?
I think this could be a spot for a letdown for the Jags, man. You got to see this team is playing really well. Two great head coaches in this game with Doug Peterson and Mike Tomlin. It's going to be, you know, a chess match all the way throughout that one. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of points in this thing. There's not going to be a whole lot of points in any Steelers game. So I don't know. This is a big test for the Jaguars. You're right, but they've won 4 in a row now, looking real good, feeling good. But now you got to go on the road to a Pittsburgh team that's also hyped. Had to go out to the West Coast, got a big win out there. Now they come back home. They're going to be ready to go, rock and rolling. I think this could be a fun game to watch, but I think I like the Steelers in this thing, man.
Yep. No, I right now I am liking the Steelers. It just, you know, man, you know, when the season gets over and over later on, you know, we're going to start instead of reacting so much to just every single game when a lot of games are meaningful. And I think one of the segments that we're going to hit is definitely breaking down that AFC North. Because
you got to, man. The really strong division up there.
It is. We might get 3, and I did a show earlier breaking it down with like Jim, who's a big Steelers fan, and some other guy named Garrett, who's a Jags fan, and I think we said we may have 3 playoff teams coming out of this division.
You could, absolutely could. Much like the NFC East last year, you know. I mean, you could definitely see 3 teams coming out of that division
like that right now.
Especially since some of the other AFC teams that we expected to be so much better have kind of fallen off the wagon here and don't look as strong as we expect them to be coming into the season. So yeah, that's probably the best division in football, in my opinion. I know it's definitely the hardest hitting division in football.
That's a division, right? Like, you know, if you make the analogy that its division is a neighborhood, that's the fucking neighborhood you don't want to walk through because you live a block away where you got beef with some guys and you got to walk through there, you know what I'm saying, to get to your house. You don't want to walk through there at night, man, because you got to get your ass kicked really quick before you get home. So
you're right, man. I feel like I'm in a time machine every time I turn on an AFC North game where they're playing each other. It's like watching old school 1970s football or something, man.
That's true, man. That is absolutely true. Well, brother, that's all we got for this week, man. Like always, my man, tell everybody where they could find you. All right. Give them a shout out.
All right. Man, you can find me on Twitter over at Cricket1414. But for the best value in sports handicapping, come check us out over at sportspicks.locals.com. We got the great Robert Barnes giving out his official picks. He's been crushing it the last few weeks in football, folks. Come over there and check him out. 7-0 on his 5% plays. You probably get a big 5% play for the World Series. So come check us out for the best value in sports handicapping. Sportspicks.locals.com, where we turn the odds in your favor.
And the NBA starts tonight, man. So
ooh,
another betting streams for us degenerates.
Man, gotta love that. You know, I can't decide if I want to leave the NBA alone altogether before Christmas, or if I've had some years where I did real well, but I've had some years where I've got my head kicked in. So I think there's too much football going on, man. It's hard for me to focus on that and put the time and research in I need to actually give a knowledgeable guess at who's going to win those things, you know?
It's definitely after Christmas. Absolutely. Or after the playoffs. You know what I mean? You still got 3 months after that to go ham on them.
Yep.
All right, everybody. This is your boy E-Man from the Average Joe Sports Talk Podcast. And, of course, with Cricket, we will see you next week. Right, Crick?
Yes, sir.
Next Tuesday. Your boy E-Man.
My bad. I forgot. See you next Tuesday.
There we go. Hey, I don't want you to get in trouble, okay?
My man.
All right, my guy. Your boy E-Man signing out. Peace.